40 Millenniums of Cultivation. It gets better later, trust me. First off, this novel does have a manhwa. If you've read the manhwa and have a bad opinion of the story, the manhwa is not nearly as good as the novel anyways, although it does follow the plot points pretty well. Anyway, let's start with a synopsis. Li Yao, or MC, starts off as a kid in the scrapyard. He goes to school, competes with other people in the scrapyard, and has a talent in refining machines. MC trained under a mysterious refiner to learn his skills, and is left with a sentient sword. He gains a cheat when an old ancestor is weakened by a train and tries to take over the MC's body but fails. MC gains the memories of the old ancestor in a limited fashion which aids him in his refining abilities. This novel has a great balance between cultivation and sci-fi, as well as comedy and tense moments. The story does have a weak start, but it really picks up throughout the chapters. This is the perfect novel for you if you're the type of person who is used to cultivation tropes and reads those trashy copy-paste cultivation novels to kill time. This novel does sort of start like that, but it goes way beyond anything you could wish for. However, it's not suitable for newer readers at the same time. 40 Millenniums of Cultivation almost has too many things going on for a new reader, and it can easily get overwhelming. If by chapter 150 you don't like it even a bit, then the novel isn't for you. However, the story really picks up around chapter 500, so if you have the patience, read it until then. Yeah, I know it sounds like a joke, but this story is the perfect representation of when someone says to watch a show until season 4 to determine if it's good. Just for reference, I read up to chapter 2297, and I'm the type of person who likes to wait until there's a lot of chapters so I can just binge read it all at once. I'll review this novel by parts, so there will be spoilers. I'll try to keep things vague, but here's a warning before I get started. The first part consists of the MC going to school, training, and doing well in a competition. MC is crippled afterwards due to an old ancestor's soul being absorbed after an attack. The MC gets to see how the world treats him when he's lost all his talent, but he regains it later and gets accepted to college. On the train ride there, the train is attacked, and the novel establishes how cultivators are in this world. I'd say at the end of the train attack, specifically chapter 125, is where the novel starts to show some promise. At this point, I'd rate the novel a 6. After this, the MC will go to college, except almost everyone who is in the field he was going to study dies in an explosion. They were working on a mystic skeleton crystal suit, but things turned disastrous. MC will improve his refining skills despite the tragedy, and we get to learn more about refiners. There is a conflict of ideals between refiners, where one group wants to make the best things they can out of the rare materials they have, while the group that the MC is in, also known as the grassroots, wants to make the best things they can out of the more abundant materials they have. The idea is that having a small number of elites does not really match up to having a large number of still decently equipped people. MC will also learn to pilot a crystal suit, basically an Iron Man suit that focuses on improving a person's strength and speed, as well as being equipped with various weapons. Afterwards, he joins a secret society of other young talented people who are busy fighting demons. They explore nearby worlds for resources and often fight demons. The demon world is actually merging with his own world. The merging of the worlds is what causes all these demon attacks to happen. I would say that this part of the story builds up the MC's abilities and also expands on the world. I'd rate it a 7. The next part where the novel improves is when the MC is sent to another region of space during a fight with a demon. This is where the story really expands as the MC learns about a completely different group of people and their troubles which are completely different to his own. In this new area, also known as the Flying Star Sector, there is a group of cultivators known as immortal cultivators. Their belief is that cultivators are superior people, and anyone who isn't a cultivator doesn't really even count as a person. The main enemies of people here, instead of being demons, are pirates as well as space devils who are sort of like evil spirits. There's also a nice contrast compared to the previous world, as everybody in this area lives very far apart, so nobody can really trust each other or group together. Whereas in the previous world, every human lived in the same area having to fight demons, so they were much more united. This is also where the story expands more on the MC's espionage abilities. You've likely read stories where the MC is a retired secret agent. They kinda suck, honestly. But in this part of the novel, MC becomes the secret agent. I'd rate this part an 8 out of 10. This part of the novel also develops a theme, the dark forest, which I've never seen another story even come close to. It's my understanding that the dark forest is not a wholly original idea, but actually comes from another famous book. It goes as such. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds another life, another hunter, angel, or a demon, a delicate infant to a tottering old man, a fairy or demigod, there's only one thing he can do. Open fire and eliminate them. The point of this idea is that every civilization wants to live out there in space. So if they find another civilization, the safest thing they can do is kill them before they get found out, because they don't know the intentions of the other civilizations. Now contrast that to the description of the novel itself. Even if this universe is truly nothing more than a brutal, bloody, shadowy forest, we cultivators will burn all that we have just to give off a single weak flickering spark in the darkness. No matter how weak each spark is, how short-lived, how small. As long as the sparks glow unabated, then one day one of those sparks will light some tinder, and that tinder shall light some fallen branches, and those branches shall set ablaze each and every last tree of the forest. In the end, even the smallest spark will eventually set the shadowy forest ablaze and illuminate the whole world. As you can see, the whole theme of the story is to try and counteract the dark forest theory, with our MC being the spearhead. The fact that this novel has a theme and the way it's used easily increases the score to a 9. The point where I'd increase the rating to a 10 is the next arc and the subsequent arc, where the MC visits another region inhabited by standard cultivators from any other type of cultivation story. I'll be brief about these parts as there's a big reveal and it also sets up for the later part of the story. MC goes back to his original world, questioning demons and humans. He also struggles with an internal virus at the same time. This part of the story is focused on the internal conflict the MC has, as he struggles with what he learned compared to what he knew before. In the next part, I just really like how the MC brings modern thought to an outdated cultivator world. It's a clash of ideas and it makes fun of the standard cultivation things. It also pays off from an earlier part of the story that was set up right at the end of the train arc. I'll stop it here as I think I've said enough. I'd give the final rating a 9 out of 10. The story's only real weakness is just the beginning. It feels like a pretty standard story at the first. MC gets a cheat, he's underestimated, he's shown to be a hard worker, and he gets its comeuppance. It's not that the novel is bad, but nothing really stands out either at this point. However, once the novel gets past all that, it really does start to shine. This is one of my favorite novels since it hit some sweet spots for me. I like the logic the story has, it also tries to go into the origin of cultivation. I like the setting of different cultures and how they mix, the different types of powers as there's cultivation and there's also machines, as well as the theme that is going on. I am biased enough to rate the story a 10 out of 10, at least for me, but others may not appreciate 40 Millenniums of Cultivation as much as I do. The author of 40 Millenniums of Cultivation also has another novel called Oh My God, Our Things Are Insane. I'd say currently it doesn't stack up quite as well as 40 Millenniums of Cultivation. The setting is more of the whole town got transmigrated to another world of danger. It's slightly post-apocalyptic. There's more of a focus on the genetic engineering type of dangers than there is on cultivation or anything like that. If you do like 40 Millenniums of Cultivation, you'll probably like his other story. Thanks for watching my second video. I'm not sure what I'll review next. There's R.I., the other R.I., some classics like I Shall Seal the Heavens, or probably one of the newer novels that I've been reading.